Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Gameplayer and welcome to a new game. Today's game is called The Darkest Files. I have no clue about this game. Let's jump right into it. I don't know what it is about. It can be about Darkest Files, I suppose. VSync on, off. I don't like VSync. I don't know why. I think 77 should be fine. Let's go. Let's jump right into the game. The events in this game are based on true crime committed during the Nazi era and investigated in the young Federal Republic of Germany, with the exception of Fritz Bueller. The names of all those involved have been changed. Any similarities existing in Britain are purely coincidental. That's starting.
Frankfurt, West Germany, 1956. 11 years after the end of World War II, many crimes of the Nazi era still go unpunished. The perpetrators of these crimes are walking free. Many judges, prosecutors and police officers have already served under the Nazis. Now they have no interest in prosecuting their former comrades for actions similar to their own. For the victims of these crimes, this is unbearable. To end this, Attorney General Fritz Bauer establishes a special unit of young prosecutors with no ties to the old regime.
Yeah, but
I am Master Katz. I am one of
Starfield is good game, but Starfield is not what people thought that it's going to be.
Avenge, not to hear.
People wanted a game which is like Fallout 4 mixed with No Man's Sky, but they got Starfield instead.
Some want us to shut up, but they cannot stop.
Starfield is basically Fallout 4 just spread apart in planets.
Everything
that's it. It's not like No Man's Sky, but there was one more game. Hello? Work in progress. A new job. 3rd September 1956. It looks beautiful though. Art style is so good. We can move. Oh, you can move with right click as well. So it's like point and click based adventure. Oh, that's
Hello?
so cool.
Not much of a welcome party.
Art design is so good in this game. I look at some games and they seem so promising. Look at the art style. It looks like a comic book until that. The Rise of Frankenstein. Marilyn Monroe and Laurence Olivier, the monarch in the dance. Oh, it's like a real movie. And possibly true crime.
Now, where have I... No. Paula Fisher, what is it with you and your forgetfulness?
Hello?
Good morning.
Oh, hello. Good morning. Sorry I didn't hear you enter. You
Yes.
Esther Katz, yes, that would be me. And you are?
Paula Fisher. Hello. I'm a legal assistant here for Mr. Bauer's team. Well, the legal assistant. We're a bit understaffed at the moment.
It's nice to meet you, Paula.
Oh, it's my pleasure, believe
It's
me.
an investigation
I brought you
in
this
Nazi era.
and a
So
letter
cool.
that arrived for you.
History
Anywhere
lesson
I
time,
should
boys.
probably be going? I'll be at my desk if you need anything. You'll find me. Or through the intercom. We just had the whole system installed. It made my life so much easier.
When can I expect to meet Dr. Bauer?
Mr. Bauer wants to talk with you once you've acclimatized. His words, not mine. He should be arriving soon for that matter, so should the rest of the team.
I see. Very well then. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you on our team, Miss Katz.
All right then. First encounter, check. Time for me to settle in. Look, but here I am. A new job deserves a fresh journal, ready to be filled with notes and tasks.
I will not pick up the call. I'm busy looking outside. Okay.
Hello?
Mr. Bauer is ready for you. He says at your own time. With him, that means as soon as possible.
Thank you. I'd better get going then.
Good luck.
Okay.
Miss Katz, how can I help you?
Paula, where can I find Mr. Bauer's office?
It's the door on your left, at the end of the room.
Okay. Thank you.
Miss Katz, how can I help you?
That will be all for now. Thank you, Paula.
Always happy to help.
Thank you, Paula.
Miss Katz, welcome to the front line.
Good morning, Dr. Bauer.
Just Mister. We're working together. My name, as you already know, is Fritz Bauer, General Prosecutor. Much to the displeasure of the public, I insist on investigating the many crimes committed under the NSDAP. Most of them, of course.
I'm
have
just
long
surprised
since
how
gone
did
cold.
they achieve the shader?
And nobody out there truly wishes for us, for you, to solve them. Or frankly, to even touch them.
It's very refined.
A rather
I have seen
thankless
people
job, may
come
I
up with
say.
this shader. Like, for example,
Are
the
you
last
up
game that
for
we
it?
played, Saturnalia, they had the similar type of, well, but it's not the same.
I was not aware there would be a test for this position.
This entire job is a test, Miss Katz. But no matter. Miss Katz, I believe I have the perfect case for you to start with.
Yes.
I'm listening.
Hans Naumann, an older gentleman, shot just before the end of the war.
And why does this fall under our jurisdiction?
The suspects. According to the victim's wife, her husband was taken by uniformed men for no reason. He never came back. His body was found in a forest nearby after the war. Shot in the head.
Do we have any files? Any leads?
Yes, from the original investigation. Miss Naumann reported her husband's death to the police. A case was opened. The public prosecutor's office investigated members of the NSDAP local group. They're suspects. However, no charges were pressed. Based on the investigation, Hans Naumann was lawfully executed.
And how did they reach this conclusion?
That you can learn from the documents. The first thing that I'll need you to establish is why Hans Naumann was taken. Depending on the answer, we'll see if the case warrants a full investigation. I asked Mrs. Fisher to prepare a file. It should probably already be on your desk. I
Okay.
suggest you familiarize yourself with it and invite the widow to give a statement. Mrs. Fisher should be able to help you with that.
Right. Look at the files, invite the first witness. Paula did say to ask her if I needed anything.
Miss Katz, how can I help you?
I need some additional files.
Something specific?
I need more details regarding NS organizations. Chains of commands, ranks, and badges. Anything you can get your hands on.
Of course, I'll get right to it. Anything else?
I need you to invite a potential witness.
Of course. Who should I reach out to?
Ludmilla Naumann, the victim's
I
widow.
will do some
I want to hear her version of
questioning.
what happened.
Of course. I'm on top of it. Anything else?
Thank you, Paula. That will be all for now.
Here if you need anything. Oh, by the way, did you talk to your colleagues already? They should still be in their offices. Miss Katz, how can I help you?
Thank you, Paula. That will be all for now.
Here if you need anything.
Sure. They will be in their offices, but nobody is ready to talk.
What are you doing here, Katz? You know perfectly well what I mean.
Do I know?
Why are you here, Katz? Not in the room. Here, working for Mr. Bauer?
I could ask you the same thing. Last I remember, you were looking for the easiest way to climb the ladder.
Touché. I suppose since you're here, you won't be going anywhere for some time. Not anywhere up, at least. And there's enough trouble here without all this.
Do I sense an apology coming?
More of a truce. Don't push it.
Very well, as long as you keep to it.
Katz, welcome to our little hell.
Peters.
Maybe it's somebody's downstairs.
I shouldn't leave before taking a look at that case file.
I'm not leaving. Just looking. Case file. Select a category on the left side of the screen. Police report. On May 10, 1945, a dead body was reported to the police station. This is a autopsy revealed that killed by gunshot to the forehead. The two men picked up her husband. Report suspect identified intentional victims. The victim was guilty of treason, therefore lawfully executed. The evaluation of whether a crime has been committed is the responsibility of Teacher's Office, Public Prosecution Office, Munich. Here, the investigation into the death of Hans Neumann from Munich has revealed that the fell victim to a violent crime. For details, please see the attached file report. We were able to identify 4 possible suspects who were connected with the victim's experience. Faultman, Alfred, Kibitz, Herman, Pitts, Paul, Schwartz, Herbert. The police investigation is thus considered closed and we hereby officially turn the case over to the prosecutor's office. If you encounter any questions during the examination of the indictment, please do not hesitate to contact us at any time. Okay. Report on report. Mr. Morse, block warden. Mr. Morse saw a man climbing up the block's flagpole, attempting to tear down the red flag and replace it with a white flag. Mr. Morse ordered the perpetrator to stop and attempted to apprehend him. The perpetrator attacked and fled the scene. A block warden was injured and resolved. Mr. Morse is certain that he recognized a young resident of block, Jan Newman, in the perpetrator. Local group leader Paul's men immediately set up a detachment to arrest and interrogate Newman. Let's see. Let's go back. This doesn't look like a young guy. Aluminum Norman Force based Munich 24 Alfred August Flat Waltman Herbs okay manslaughter against Theodore Newman. In the above mentioned proceedings we made the following decision proceedings discontinued percent to section 170 section 2 of the Code of Criminal Procedure. The reason the victim Hans Newman was communist insurgent who carried out any treasonable actions in wartime situation. The execution of the victim Hans Newman was carried out according to the law in time with crime guards. The proceedings against the following physical laws stated below. Experts from Article 103.2 of the Basic Law 1940 an act may be punished only if it was punishable by law. Force the act was from Article 91b of Criminal Code of the German Right. That there, as of April 1945, anyone home or as a German abroad who bets the hostile power during war against the right war causes disadvantages to the military power of the right or its alias will be sentenced to death or life imprisonment. In view of those two laws, it is not possible to carry out further investigation into this case as the suspect acted according to the contemporary laws and legislation. I see. Is there any age? Age 77. Young resident. He was 77. He can't be the person.
Miss Katz, how?
I need some additional files. The victim was supposedly involved in rebellion. I'd need information on the state of the resistance around Munich in April 45.
Of course. I'll start looking. Anything else?
Thank you, Paula. That will be all for now.
Here if you need.
Oh, hello. Oh, please, forgive the mess. I'm afraid I didn't have the time to clean up. Miss Katz, right?
Esther Katz, nice to meet you.
Pleasure is all mine. Christoph Wolmuth. Christoph, preferably. I try to be on first-name basis.
Is that usual here?
Not from what I can tell.
Let's stick to the usual then, shall we?
We are a small team. I'd love to tell you that we are small and tight-knit, but, well, happy to have more people join the fight. Especially someone like you.
And what do you mean by that?
Well, you're a woman.
Okay.
Right. Sorry. What I meant to say is, you're a woman and a prosecutor. That didn't sound better.
Maybe just a little bit.
Right. Well, high time. That's it, in short. Right. Again, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Likewise.
I'm looking forward to working alongside with you.
There's nothing left for me to do. I should call it a day.
Oh my god. Look, that guy tried to be nice.
Well, hello.
Can I ask you a few questions about the work here?
Ask away.
How long have...
Here? Which sounds...
And before...
3 years in Hamburg, Public prosecutor's office didn't really fit in there. And before that, well, that's a different story.
I was a bit surprised.
Right, Bauer's idea. To put it simply, too many people, so he decided to rent this place and repurpose it.
Have you worked with Mr. Bauer before?
Didn't get the chance, no. And even here, it's not exactly working with him either. Under would be a better term, usually.
What can you tell me about...
Long hours, little pay, cases which more often than not fail to even reach court. But it's an important mission, and, ironically, rewarding. The case...
I have a different question.
Who would...
What can you tell me about Mr. Bauer?
He's the reason we... You don't... He's but himself, but in a...
I think...
Cuts.
I have...
So, from this, I reached out. It's if you, and hardly. It's in.
What?
About whom? Mr.
You-
You want?
I...
Continue. You do I've been from the university. We tried. Didn't we? Munich. Still, then I.
And how's... you...
You did. It. We.
I'm sorry.
I'm not. Not anymore.
I have...
About whom? Again. Same as you. We all.
Thank you. That's all.
It's so interesting. The art style changes to 2D, from 3D, then back to 2D, and then 3D and 2D mix, and then shell shade in 3D. So cool. Chapter 2.
Miss Katz, good morning. If you'd have a moment, I got you the files you requested.
Yeah, I got the part.
Good morning, Paula.
An overview of the Wehr. As for the resistance, there was a group around Munich at the time, called themselves Freiheitsaktion Bayern, Bavarian Liberation Action. I did get my hands on one of their leaflets. They must have annoyed a lot of people back then. There was even a specific order to shoot everyone who took part in their actions. It was part of the legal justification for the original verdict. I added them all to your...
Great. I'll get...
Mrs. Naumann should be joining us later today. Not a morning person.
Thank you, Paula.
Oh, one more thing. They finally connected your phone. It's working all right. You even missed a call. I wrote down the number. Miss
Thank
Katz.
you.
Miss Katz. Miss Katz.
Who do I want to call?
Hello?
Esther Katz speaking. I was called from this number.
Oh, Esther, my dear, so good to hear you.
Dad? Where are you? What's this number?
I'm at home. We got a new number. It's unlisted. Your mother hopes this way we'll receive fewer client calls. I hope I'm not disturbing you, dear.
I'm busy, but I can always make room to talk to you.
Oh no, it's all right then. You should return to your work. If you ever feel like talking, you can always reach out to me, dear. My hard-working daughter. I'm proud of you.
Who do I want to call?
Not picking up.
The line is busy. Who do I want to call?
Elvis Presley. Globe case unset too fast. The computer IBM 650. Oh. Holy.
Paula?
Mrs. Naumann just arrived. I showed her to the conference room.
Thank you. You must be Mrs. Naumann. Thank you for coming. My name is Esther Katz. I am one of the prosecutors in Attorney General Bauer's team.
Good morning, Miss Katz. I am very grateful that you found the time. The last prosecutor who looked into my husband's death didn't even speak to me. He dismissed the case, claiming my husband was rightfully executed as a traitor.
Did your husband do anything for which he could be accused of treason?
Of course not. The men that took him weren't even looking for him.
I see. I know it's not easy, but please take me through the day your husband was taken.
It was in April 45, only days before the Americans came.
Oh, we are.
Where were you that day?
Home. Hans was upstairs when the doorbell rang, before someone hammered against the door.
When you opened the door, who was it?
There were two men. One of them was pointing a gun at me.
Do you remember what they looked like?
Both wore uniforms. Brown ones, if I'm not mistaken.
Did they belong to the Wehrmacht?
No. Not Wehrmacht, and not police either. Maybe some kind of party officials or something. One of them was small, thin. He wore glasses, I remember that. The second man was bigger. He was the one pointing the gun at me. He seemed to be in charge.
What made you think that?
He had two golden stripes on his uniform, and he was bossing the small one around. He yelled and waved his gun around to scare me. They demanded to speak to Mr. Naumann. The gun was still there, and I was just so afraid I couldn't even move. Hans came down and asked them what they wanted. They demanded to know if there was anyone with us. When we said no, the smaller guy looked in the other rooms. He found no one. It was only Hans and I. Then the big one told Hans that he had to come with them for questioning.
Did they say why they were questioning him?
No, they did not. They ignored Hans when he asked for their reason. Then everything happened so fast. The small one said they'd let him go if our son would turn himself in. Then they just herded him out, like an animal.
Do you remember what time of the day it was?
We just had lunch, so it must have been close to 1 p.m.
Did you and your husband live alone?
No, there was also our son Jan. He insisted on staying with us to help around the house, at least until the end of the war. But he wasn't in. He went out in the morning before we woke up. This was the last time I saw him alive.
What was that man's comment about your son?
Jan. He was living with us at that time, but he didn't show up that night or the following. He got into some trouble. Bad trouble.
Do you think the men were looking for your son?
I believe so, yes. At least that's what they said.
Wait a second. I think it was mentioned somewhere.
Yes. The young man.
Please, take a look.
Oh God. Here it is. He recognized him as Jan Naumann. I can't believe there was proof all along. And the former prosecutor just dismissed it. How could he?
I wish I knew. I am really sorry. Please, continue. What happened upon your son's return?
When Jan finally came back, it was already too late. We asked the authorities about Hans, but they pretended not to know anything. After war, my husband was found dead in a forest nearby. Shot. I believe he died the same day they took him.
I would really like to talk to your son about it.
You and I both, dear. But I am afraid that's not possible. Jan died only a few months after his father. Pneumonia. Hans was innocent. They killed him, and that's murder. No matter what they call it.
I hear you, Mrs. Naumann.
Please, Miss Katz. Will you find the man?
I promise. I will find out who is responsible for your husband's death.
Thank you.
We will let you know if we have enough for an indictment. Please, Paula will help you to the door. Goodbye. I should update Mr. Bauer.
Hello, Miss Katz. Any news regarding the Naumann case?
Yes.
Yes, I think so. After talking to Mrs. Naumann, it seems like Hans Naumann was indeed innocent. The men were looking for his son, Jan Naumann. When they couldn't find Jan, they took Hans instead, the father.
I assume that's what Miss Naumann told you. But are you sure she is telling the truth?
According to the files, the man they were looking for had climbed up a flagpole, torn down a flag, and beaten up a block warden when he was caught in the act. Hans Naumann was 77 years old at the time.
Exactly.
Of course, there are older men who are in good shape, but
Pulling down a flag and beating someone up seems unlikely. I understand.
yes.
I see, but why did the man take him, if they knew he was innocent?
According to Mrs. Naumann, they took him as a hostage. They were hoping his son, Jan, would surrender once he learned that they had his father.
Highly illegal, even back then. Not uncommon, though. But why did they shoot the old man?
That I don't know yet. But I believe this is definitely a case for us.
It is, indeed.
So what happens now?
I will officially reopen the investigations tomorrow. You need to find out who was at the crime scene when Hans Naumann was shot. We need witnesses.
I'd start with the names mentioned in the files of the first investigation.
Excellent. Let's get this case to court, Miss Katz.
Time to invite the suspects. And it would be good to know more about them.
That poor man. And that poor woman. She lost everyone she loved in a matter of a few months. I really hope we can help her.
I hope so too.
Anything I can do?
I need you to invite a potential witness.
I've got something that might help us with them. I looked into the NSDAP local group from the original investigation. Only a few documents survived the bombing, but I found a group photo and a member list from a few years before the incident. I took the liberty of marking the suspects. One of them, Mr. Schwartz, is dead. Who should I reach out to?
Please invite Mr. Schickert.
Well, anything else?
I need
Something specific?
The member list is helpful, but
I'll reach out to the
nothing for now. Thank you, Paula. That will be all for now.
Here if you need anything.
There's nothing left for me to do. I should call it a day.
Episode 3. First suspect.
Good morning, Miss Katz. Miss Katz. Miss Katz.
Persian will assist for the armed forces. No man inside of
Miss Katz, excuse me. Mr. Schickert, the witness you wanted to see? I'm afraid he arrived a bit early.
Thank you, Paula. I'll be joining you in a minute.
citizen, the wars overload perseverance. Not defend the city against the Allies. Avoid unnecessary bloodshed. Tear down their flags from the raise the white flags. Welcome to our liberators. That too, Nazi criminals join the campaign to liberate. He had 2 stripes, but that means he was head official. Let's deal with this conflict.
Mr. Schickert, I didn't expect you yet.
Arriving on time means you're 15 minutes late.
I'm glad you're so cooperative. Thank you for coming. My name is Esther Katz. I am the prosecutor in charge. I'll cut right to the chase. What happened on the 28th of April back in 45?
So, you're finally reopening the case, aren't you?
Yes.
You seem excited about this. What is it to you?
Let me put it this way. I still have a score to settle. It is time for some gentlemen to answer for what happened back then.
Just to be clear, you
But he
are
might be
referring
with
to...
Kibitz and local group leader Feitmann.
So, your superior and your colleague. What had happened?
On that day, Feitmann, Kibitz and I had captured an alleged insurgent. We had taken him to the district office and locked him in a cell. It was an old man.
Was his name Hans Naumann?
It's more than 10 years ago, but I'm pretty certain that this was his name, yet.
What did the district building look like?
It had been moved to a brewery because of the air raids. There was an office, individual cells, and a long corridor lined with boxes, barrels, and bottles.
Please describe the situation.
I was in the hallway with Mr. Kibitz, while local group leader Feitmann was in Schwarz's office to report to the district leader.
Can you tell me more about your local group?
We mainly wrote reports and helped in the district where help was needed.
I can still hear the air raid siren in my head. I remember Mom waking me up. Pack your things, get into the basement. Was your local group in contact with other local groups?
We were in permanent contact with all the other Bavarian groups.
How did you make sure you had enough electricity?
We had a generator for power outages and oil lamps.
6 years perhaps.
We had these oil lamps everywhere. In the bathroom, in the living room, in the kitchen. I'm sure the group members had a drink here from time to time. After all, the building...
Employees are prohibited from supplying merchandise. Still trying.
We hoped that we would be safer there.
Were there any other prisoners at that time?
No, the old man was the only one that day.
How many people were in your local group?
Around 10, but we were never all present at the same time due to shifts and different responsibilities. Shortly after, the two men came out. Pointing to the cells, the district leader gave the command.
What kind of command?
He ordered us to shoot the prisoner.
Was it common for prisoners to be executed?
No, we were a local group, not the SS. The district leader returned to his office together with Mr. Kibitz. Mr. Feldman asked me to follow him. Together we walked down the corridor to the cell where the old man was kept.
Describe the cell to me.
Small and dirty, with a narrow, barred window just under the ceiling. Not that most of them, at the least.
What did Mr. Feldman do?
The group leader raised his voice.
Do you remember his words?
He told me to shoot the prisoner.
And did you shoot the prisoner?
No, I did not. The man was clearly innocent.
You did not? Really? Just like that?
Not just like that. I refused the order because the prisoner was not the man we were looking for. He was accused of... what was it again? I remember someone mentioning it.
Just a second, I have that somewhere.
Used. Oh.
According to this block warden's report, Mr. Naumann had torn down a Reich flag and beaten up the block warden.
Yes, that was it. Look, the man we had captured there. I'd have counted him lucky if he was able to get out of bed every morning. Besides, group leader Faltmann himself had said earlier that we had only taken him hostage. Him and Kibitz had hoped that the perpetrator would turn himself in if they held the old man hostage.
Why did they assume that?
Because the perpetrator was the son of the old man. That's what they believed, at least.
So they had hoped the son would come to get his father released?
Exactly.
But you didn't think their plan would work?
Doesn't matter what I was thinking. You can't just go and take a fellow German hostage.
How did your superior take your refusal?
Not well. He yelled, and I argued.
Do you remember your words?
I told him that it made no sense and that we should refrain from doing that. Group leader Faltmann then threatened me. He said he'd report me to the Gestapo, that I would be severely punished, possibly killed.
But you still refused.
I did. I just couldn't do it.
You didn't kill him.
I left the room. Outside the cell, I met Kibitz, who was about to enter, a gun in his hand, cocked. The next thing I hear is the shot.
How did the members of your group spend their free time?
They went drinking together. Not me, though. I don't drink. I prefer being home early and getting a healthy sleep.
So what you are saying is that Mr. Kibitz shot him.
He did indeed. I know it.
But why would he do that? What was his reason?
What do I care about his reason? What he did was wrong. That's why I'm glad the case has been reopened. You break the rules, you get punished. That's the way it should be.
We will make sure the right people face the consequences, Mr. Schick.
Maybe he's
Thank you for coming.
lying.
The pleasure is all mine. Goodbye, Miss Katz.
I should update Mr. Bauer.
Maybe he's lying.
Miss Katz, may I have a word? I got something that might help you. So, I have done some digging beforehand
Yes?
and found something potentially useful for you. The brewery's blueprint. I put it in your office, on the cork board. I thought it might help you to have more of a physical understanding of the crime scene.
I'm sure it will. Thank you, Paula.
That surely was interesting. This lank... Miss Katz,
Miss Katz,
I interviewed our first suspect. Have you read the transcript?
I did. How did it go?
This Mr. Schickert is a strange person. I can't quite figure him out.
What
Neither do I.
makes him so strange?
The way he behaved, he seemed strangely focused. I don't know how else to describe it.
I see. Interesting observation. So, did you gain any new insights for our case from your conversation with the witness?
Schickert says that Kibitz shot Mr. Naumann, and that he, Schickert, insisted they should not kill the victim. And that Faltmann tried to coerce him by threatening to tell the Gestapo if he would refuse the order.
Is Mr. Schickert lying?
Well, as I said, I find him difficult to read. We don't have enough evidence yet to say for sure.
Understood. The way I see it, there are 3 further questions we need to answer now. First question: who shot Mr. Naumann? Who did pull the trigger? Was it really Mr. Kibitz who killed the victim? Or is Fickett lying to clear himself? Second question: Fickett insists he had refused the order to execute the prisoner. It might be relevant to clarify whether this is true. And finally, the witness testifies that group leader Faltmann threatened to inform the Gestapo about his insubordination. Threatening others could be considered coercion in court and, in case of doubt, also affect the verdict. If you found an answer to all of these questions, we should... Good luck, Miss Cutts.
Miss Katz.
Date of birth 1912.
Who do I want?
Let's see. In this mode, you can edit your own theory. Try it out. Select the figure of Mr. Then choose the cell to place it. In this mode, you can... Try it out. Select the figure of Mr. Newman. Place. The stories of it will not get. No, alright. Boltman and Switzer in office. Did you see how the witness statement changed step 2 as well? Position your figure. Miss Warren stepped out in the hallway and the district leader gave the order to execute. Where there is movement in your spirit. Let's watch. bring the base unit to answer mission. On some cell timeline, you see the indicator that there is a receptor. Who ordered the execution? What? Who shot Newman?
Before I leave, I should tell Paula which witness to invite.
Miss Katz, how can I... Something specific. I've made Berlin's... Of course.
Please invite...
We'll reach out to...
There's nothing left for me to do. I should call it a day.
September. Episode 4. A different trip.
Miss Katz, a second?
Yes, Paula?
The witness you asked me to contact, Hermann Kiebitz. He has just arrived. He's waiting for you in the conference room.
Good morning. My name is Esther Katz.
A pleasure. Could you tell me how long I have to wait for the prosecutor?
Mr. Kiebitz, I'm the...
Oh, modern times, I guess. How long will this take?
Oh my god.
It will...
It's all right.
Let's get started, shall we? This is about the arrest of Hans Naumann in Munich on April 28th. According to a witness, 2 men picked up Mr. Naumann from his apartment. Were you one of them?
You're pretty, you know that?
Mr. Kiebitz, were you one of those men?
No, I wasn't. We drove to the house. Then our group leader and Mr. Schickert got out of the car to arrest the man. Then they tossed the old man into the car and headed to the district office. After we put him in the cell, I waited in the hallway, talking to Mr. Schickert.
The district office. Where was it located?
We just had moved it into the basement of an old brewery, still stuffed with beer bottles and barrels. The higher-ups decided it would be a safer place for us. With all the Yank air raids, Group leader Faltman went into the district leader's office.
What was the name of the district leader?
Herbert Schwarz.
Could you hear what they were saying?
Only after they came out of the office. District leader Schwarz came out and gave the command.
What command? What did he say?
He ordered us to execute the man. Then he left. I felt uneasy. This wasn't right.
What were your local group's responsibilities in the very last days of the war?
We were responsible for all concerns and for many households within Munich. Above all, we tried to eliminate insurgencies.
How did the members of your group spend their free time?
They went drinking together. Not me, though. I don't drink. I prefer being home early and getting a healthy sleep.
Oh, he's gonna say the same things, isn't he? Sus.
We followed group leader Falkman to the cell. There was tension.
Hi, welcome. No, I'm Ben from Valorant. Like,
With the district office being a brewery, you helped yourself to the stocks?
Of course not. How could you assume something like that?
I'm perma-banned on my system. Valorant, so I put Valorant completely. I stopped playing it. I don't play it anymore.
How did you ensure the energy supply?
The district struggled to produce enough energy. There were frequent power
Yeah,
failures.
perma.
For emergency, we had a generator. If
It's a
worse
perma
came
ban.
to worse, we used oil lamps.
What's this? Wait, this
They
was not
must
there.
have had drinks from the supplies. Never on duty. Who would believe it?
I think this guy is like playing checkers with us.
Could you describe the cell?
Very basic. Mattress, window, chair.
Okay, there. Wait, when the other guy said, he said there were only 2 people. There were only 2 guys. Now there are 3.
What was Mr. Falkman doing?
Group leader Falkman seemed to hesitate.
Batman.
He shared my concerns about killing the old sod. He told us to wait. Yet Schickert insisted. He referred to that new order about dealing with insurgents. He was such a stickler for the rules.
Wait a second. These orders you're talking about.
This is the one, I think.
Are you referring to this?
Yes, exactly. He was very vocal about it.
Very well. What did he
We
say?
have to.
He insisted that any delay would
so-
constitute treason.
Basically, what I did, Street, was I screamed at a bunch of people, and allegedly I would have roasted them
Ordered us to wait
too much.
once more. But Schickert drew his
So everybody reported me. Yes, and I got banned. These same kids didn't shoot him though. Dude, who's lying?
For how long were the prisoners held in these cells?
mostly around a week.
Were the compartments prepared to host prisoners?
Kind of. We adjusted them so our prisoner could stay there for interrogations and not get out.
A blessing in disguise, for sure. But you know what? I will eventually find something else. I know that as well.
How did Mr. Schwarz's office look like?
Quite fancy given the circumstances. Leather chair, massive oak desk.
Was Mr. Schwarz involved in the executions?
He gave the orders, but the members of the local group were responsible for carrying them out. Surely you can't expect a busy man like the district leader to attend every execution.
Yeah,
in
he
person.
is talking so slow. He has no.
Did Mr. Schwarz even get to see the victim, Hans?
This
Bauer?
is making me believe that this guy is
He
telling a
was
lie.
in
He's
his office
speaking
when
so
he called
slow.
the perpetrator,
The victim.
the victim, into a cell.
Dude, he's weird and creepy as well. Because the main character is a woman, and he was
For
making
how long did Mr.
comments
Feldman
on
talk to Mr. Schwarz?
misogynistic
It was just a
comments on
short
her as
meeting,
well.
maybe for a couple of minutes.
So that gives me an idea on his moral compass, I would say. This guy doesn't seem right. He looks.
So what you are saying
He
is
looks and seems
Schickard
like he's
shot the
psycho.
old man against Mr. Feldman's order?
He might be lying for sure,
Let's
dude.
hope.
I feel that
These
this
are
is the
brutal
liar.
events
This is
you're
the black
getting to
sheep.
hear here. Are you sure you're up for it? Honestly, no one would think this is a job for a woman. But we have to
Again.
prove. I will
Told
file a
you,
formal
this guy is
complaint.
weird.
What would you like to complain about?
About talking to you instead of a real prosecutor.
Oh
I see.
no.
Well, if you think that's necessary, go ahead. Thank you for your time, Mr. Kiebitz.
Goodbye, Miss Katz.
Interesting. The suspects contradict each other in multiple aspects. I could use the reconstruction board to get a better idea, or update Mr. Bauer. I can also just call it a day. I feel a headache coming. I should still at least ask Paula to invite the last witness.
Now that was quite an interesting development. Somebody sure is lying.
Yes.
Can't say I envy your job right now, Miss Katz.
But
before
it
I
can be
forget,
like
there was another call from your father for you. Wanted you to call back. Apart from that, how can I help you?
in white.
Have you seen Mr. Bauer today?
Oh no, he didn't come in. I think he's following a hot lead right now. I even remember him mentioning a contact in Argentina. Can you believe it? Argentina!
That sounds very promising.
Anything else?
Could you locate the third suspect, Alfred Feldman?
I'm on top of it. He should be arriving soon. Anything else?
Are there any updates about the personal files?
I suspect I already sound like a broken record to the Berlin Document Center. Sadly, no news yet, but I will keep you on track once I hear something. Anything else?
Yeah, where did you get that cigarette?
That will
It's
be all for now.
freaking
Here, if you
infinite
need
amount of cigarette and tobaccos.
Apart from that, how can I help you?
I don't
Thank
think
you,
anything
Paula.
else.
That will be all for now.
Here if you need.
Okay. I can actually make. Is there any development in case file? Nothing. We're just adding the suspects to the list. That's. Let's see. Switch to step 4 and edit mode. This time you have access to 2 versions of the event. Expand them to read how. Now, rather than moving all figures by hand, you can simply apply their version to the current. Then click on the eye icon or press. See how the figures on the board. There is so many different. To watch. So they came out. Skirt guy said kill him. Old man and Kibbutz goes there in the women's cell, and then Boltzmann says something. Be sure to check your case file to find. Keep this in mind. First step, second step, they move. And then they go. Okay. The lights off to this part.
Est, Miss Katz. Welcome. Tell me, have you... Old, dirty thing? Has my name on it? Big coffee stain on the back?
Sorry, I didn't see.
Just keep an eye out for it, if you... It's embarrassingly important. So, anything...
I have some.
Who would that be?
Our legal assistant.
She's wonderful. She can be a bit of a... Truth be told, but don't let her...
This place falls apart without one legal assistant?
Without our only one. And that woman does the work of an entire team, without complaining. Well, no, she does complain, but not earnestly. Just don't ask her for coffee.
Coffee?
Don't. Trust me.
What do you mean she can be a bit of a pain?
You might have already noticed, but she can be rather, let's be honest, nosy? Unless you get something in a sealed envelope, it's safe to assume that she's already taken a peek. I don't personally mind, but I believe it can get on one's nerves.
What can you
You need any files, if they still... And she takes the initiative. She starts searching for them even before you realize you might... Which, it might have something to do with how she reads through everything she can get her hands on.
I have some...
Who? Then, there just is... The name's Christoph, again. Though, I never did well with trial.
Where are you?
Leipzig.
Wouldn't
The East. Don't hold it... And I've never been too many...
you...
Did a few... Doesn't count here.
I'm sorry for asking, but how did you end up here then?
I crossed before 52. It was easier then. No fences.
I think that's...
Don't be...
Okay.
Paula mentioned that my father had called.
I completely forgot about that.
Kat,
Hello, Mom. It's Esther.
Esther, my darling. How nice of you to call.
Could I talk to Dad?
How rude of you. Don't you want to ask your poor old mother how she is?
Ugh, I'm sorry. You're right. How are you, Mom?
Terrible. My only daughter never calls, and when she does, she only wants to talk to her father. It's all right, my dear. I'm just kidding. I know that your job is important to you, and unfortunately only your dad can help you. To answer your question, your father isn't home. You'll have to make do with me, but you're calling at just the right time.
Am I?
You are. I just invited the Müllers for coffee this Saturday. You have to come. I'm dying to show off my smart daughter.
Who are the Müllers? Do I even know them?
I don't think you have met them yet. They just moved into the piano floor of the house opposite.
Oh, did the Webers move out?
No, the other house. The Langs. You remember the Langs, right? Thomas Lang, he used to work at the bank. You used to play with their daughter. Black hair, a ponytail, always got her dress dirty. I just can't remember her name.
I really don't know who you are talking about. Anyway, I can't this weekend.
Oh, what a pity. The Müllers are really nice people.
Oh,
And they have this good-looking son.
Mom!
All right. Just mentioning it. No ulterior motives. Another weekend, then. Are you free the week after?
I need to get back to work now, Mom.
A shame. Thanks for your call anyway. Get back to me soon, will you?
Sure. Bye, Mom.
Goodbye, Esther.
they have
There's
very
nothing
good
left for me to do. I should call it.
voice actors for this game. And you know what? That
Apart
gives
from
me
that,
some
here is
insight as well. She must have liked that can from like front of her apartment or something, and she must have left. Let me remove everything from screen for a second. Okay. Maybe done.
The man was clearly innocent.
Group leader Falkman seemed to hesitate.
I just couldn't do it.
I felt uneasy. This wasn't right.
I met Kibbitz.
But Schickard drew his gun.
A gun in his hand.
Back then, everyone was an ardent Nazi. Now they all claim to have resisted, doubted, hesitated, to have said no. Trouble is, somebody must have said yes. 2 suspects, 2 accounts. Both would have us believe their innocence. Both would point towards the other. But who tells the truth? Let's hope our final witness can offer some answers.
Esther Katz. Are you Jewish?
Goldman. That's cool. Oh, they left it on cliffhanger though. That's cool. That was a good game. Darkest Files. Okay, I think this is it for today. I'm gonna go and eat something. Probably will do that.